What up, YouTube? It's your boy Banks. And we back in the building, you feel me? It's True Talks. Cause True Talks, alright? Let's get straight right into it. So you already know, man, obviously last night was a back-to-back game on the road. Pascal actually did play. Some people thought, oh my God, they're 0-5 without Pascal. Pascal's not gonna play, and the Raptors could get the win. You know what I mean? We still know that OG's out. They said he's out for a while with a hip pointer injury, injured in practice, something like that. I'm pretty sure of that sort. So, with that being said, let's obviously go into the context, because I give you that context. Let's go straight right into it, boy. So like I was saying, basically, they had a back-to-back game versus the Kings. They've lost 5 straight. Well, not 5 straight, but 5 straight with Pascal, right? Remember when Pascal didn't play in a back-to-back earlier versus Philly, they won. The Raptors won, right? And basically the last 5 games versus Brooklyn lost, Boston lost, Detroit lost, Portland lost, Utah lost, and then now they finally got their first win versus the Kings, right? And, I was coming here to basically eat their Pascal, and I'm still going to do that because, it's just, I'm going to dive into a deep context, a deep advanced context about his psyche. And, if you've been following me, or you've been paying attention, or even subscribed to this channel, and again, if you haven't, click that notification button so you know when I'm here. Because I'm here, you already know. Thank you for coming for that IQ, because that's what I do. Click that notification button, share, like, and subscribe. Do all of that. Spread the word. You already know. But, like I was saying, if you've been following me and paying attention and just watching these videos from time, I've been explaining how Pascal, from time, even basically the year after when Kawhi left and Pascal was now, integrated into being the number 1 option, I was basically showing man that, yo, this man literally plays. He has a mental weakness, right? And I'm not trying to, eat their Pascal in terms of just no IQ, just bashing him, whatever, a hater, whatever y'all want to describe me as. Because every time I say something, it comes to fruition. And when True talks, you listen, man. Basically, I've been telling man from time, just diving into how I noticed his game, even during when Kawhi was there during the playoffs, when he will kill Tobias Harris in game 1 versus the Sixers. And then the second game, they put Embiid on him, and Embiid sags off and just lets him shoot. When he's now forced to be in his weakness, he basically caves in. You know what I mean? He shies away. He plays more nervous, or he gives into when now it's not an advantage for him, when it's a disadvantage for him, and he has to now fight through and still cook. Because when you're the number 1 option, or when you're a main guy, or when you're that type of guy, you're going to be forced to be, guarded by an elite defender. Like, what are you going to do in those situations? Can you only score when a weak defender's on you, or when it's an advantage situation? If you can only do that, that's the sign of a role player. That's the sign of, someone who's not supposed to be a number 1 option. I said this from time. I noticed that even during that run when the Raptors made the run the ring, right, with Kawhi being there, I'm like, okay, I'm paying attention to the little things of Pascal Siakam. People blew that out of proportion. Oh my God, he cooked Draymond Green in the playoffs. I'm like, dog, if you actually paid attention, that game 1 when he cooked, the game plan wasn't to stop Pascal. The game plan was to stop Kawhi, so they shrank and they doubled and shrink the floor around Kawhi, around the mid-range area. Now Pascal will get it, and even when he's cooking and it looks like it's one-on-one, it's not really one-on-one, because Draymond Green just rotated from somewhere to now guard Pascal, and then now he did a move. Now he did a spin. That's not one-on-one. Pascal was taking advantage of Kawhi being on the floor. People are like, oh my God, no, he deserves the money. Then he got paid, right? Based off of that championship ring. He's the number 2 option. He can elevate. He's got better every year. All of this type of stuff that people have been looking at, the trajectory. Last year he did this. Now this year he's averaging 17. He's going to only get better. Yeah. That's what people thought. And then now what happened? The next year after that, Kawhi leaves. Pascal's now the number 1 option. So again, like I've told mans from time, he's not getting better. Getting better is forget the numbers. Getting better is looking at the ability and the arsenal that is being displayed. You could tell. You see it with OG right now. You could see someone from here, right? From square one, and even if it's not 1 year, It's a couple years, and then eventually you see if you go back and look what they first was, now you look at what they are now in 3 years, 4 years, whatever it is, you see step backs. You're seeing advanced ability, more confidence in their shot, taking more tougher shots, just shooting the ball with confidence. You're seeing multiple different things. If you look at Pascal's game from when he first was getting rotational minutes and when he's first getting, like, perfect example, if you just go watch his G League highlights in the year that the Raptors 905 won the ring with the Van Vliet, Pascal, all of that, right, with the bench mob. Go look at his takes. There's no difference in his takes then and his takes now. There's no difference. The only difference is what I was trying to tell people is that his output has changed for 3 straight years, and that's never happened to someone who's a superstar or an all-star, where their output, their situation has changed 3 back-to-back straight years. That doesn't happen. What I mean by that is he went from a rotational off-the-bench player, right, where he averaged, 7 or 8, whatever he averaged. Then the next year went to a number 2 option beside Kawhi. And then the next year went to a number 1 option. That's 3 straight years of your situation, your usage rate, everything improving for you individually. Your output, your stats are going to improve for 3 straight years regardless. Even if you didn't get better, it's going to improve regardless because your shot attempts is increasing every single year for 3 straight years. You're not other people, they're the number 1 option continuously, always. So then when they really improve, you really see when their numbers improve, it's really an improvement in terms of their ability. It translates. He doesn't have to. That's what I was trying to tell people. Look at the game. He's doing the same takes, the same spin, the same takes for 3 straight years. It's just the output improved, which translated to the stats. And people, oh my God. So then now, look at it. Like I said from before, now after that year, he was the number 1 option. We're like, okay, if you're really going to improve, aren't you going to improve again the next year, number 1 option? No. The first time his stats have dipped and dropped for what now it's 2 straight years is the only time his situation has never changed. The one time his situation never changes where he's the number 1 option, it drops in production. Number 1 option, right? The first year of his number 1 option, he was averaging, 22, whatever he did in the year of the bubble. After the bubble, oh my God, people are like, oh my God, it's the bubble. The year after that. So finally, 1 year, he's just number 1 option for 2 years. Now, remember, it's not the year that he's a second option going to the number 1 option. So that first year of number 1 option doesn't really count because he just improved. He just went from second option to number 1. Now, after that, the first year, it's number 1 option, number 1 option. Look at the production. It decreased. Now this year, number 1 option again, decreased. You know what I'm saying? And it's not necessarily that he's playing OD bad this year. I'm going to break it down in terms of how this correlates to the Raptors as a team, as a whole, as a flow, as a system. But just analyzing Pascal individually, like, this is what I'm talking about. And not only just that, I knew that, okay, let me see your ability. Let me see your improvements individually in terms of just breaking down your game. It hasn't happened. Then now look, not only that, in the years that he's been playing, especially when he first was a number 1 option before the bubble, and people are like, oh my God, Pascal's killing. He's worth the money, all of this type of stuff. And I said, okay, that's cool. That's fun. But I broke it down to a next tier. People were like, you're hating. I broke it down. Go back and look at the videos. I talked about how with Pascal, he's just not a number 1 option type of guy. Not just because, oh, I'm hating or whatever the case is. Or, oh, he only did good with Kawhi. No, that's not. He could do good in the number 1 option. And part of that, even him doing good in that number 1 option that year, was a lot of it was you catered the roster fit perfectly for Pascal because you had Gasol and you had Ibaka that first year that they were number 2 seed. And then they lost to the Boston Celtics in the second round. You had Ibaka and Gasol were 2 shooting bigs. They didn't roam and just hug the paint. They spaced the floor, which means Pascal had the whole paint to himself. Which is why I said the importance of re-signing Ibaka and Gasol or finding a shooting big to replace them. That was the most big important type of thing because Pascal's on the roster. You need to cater towards him. Don't just get any Aaron Baines and like, what are you doing? Stop focusing on, oh my God, sign Giannis, sign Kawhi. It's not going to happen. Be realistic. Go get the shooting big. It's going to come back to bite you. And what happened? Now when you don't have shooting bigs, the only shooting big you have is Boucher, but he's so undersized that you're not going to start him at the 5. That's why you know what I mean? You're not going to do that because what he gives up overtakes what his assets are. So that's why he has to be a rotational player. He's too frail to run the 5 the whole time. What happened? Pascal immediately out the gate was struggling. The year after, when the Raptors last year were in Tampa Bay, immediately struggling. Resulted in the Raptors record, etc., etc. So even to have the best version of Pascal, you're not going to get that when you don't cater towards him. That even makes it even worse. He's already not a number one option, but at least you could manipulate it and let him be number one option when, again, like the Giannis, when you have a situation that caters to him. Right? The bag is not the greatest, but if you now give him shooters, let him have the whole paint, let him be in his best situation individually, then at least you can maybe say he's the number one option and go to him, whatever the case is. But when you don't have shooting bigs, you don't do it properly. Now look at Pascal got affected. Nurse is like, yo, we have to manipulate the lineup. Stop playing Aaron Baines. Wave Alex line. Make Pascal the 5. Pascal, the deficiencies he has at the 5, he's going to get his chest broke. He's not going to box out. Like, the intangibles is not the greatest with Pascal. So, not even that. The pain is all his. That's why you've seen his numbers improve near the end of the season. And when they now transition to Pascal being the 5, his numbers individually improved. But the record was basically the same because the deficiencies as a team that you give up with Pascal at the 5, offensive rebounding, all that type of stuff is gonna, it's just not sustainable to win. His individual numbers will get better. But then overall still was a down season for Pascal. Now this season, you're not seeing him play too bad, but you're seeing him now clash with Scottie. You're seeing Scottie get hella affected. You're seeing the Raptors get affected with the flow because, again, you're now going to a number one option who should only be the number one option when it's catered to them with shooting bigs. There's no shooting bigs. Ken Birch, not a shooting big. Precious, not a shooting bigs. Those are the bigs you be playing. Boucher, when he comes in, he's not even really playing the 5. He's playing the 4, sometimes the 3. Especially with Scottie. Then you have Scottie who plays the 5 sometimes. Not a shooting big. You have 3 non-shooting bigs that are rotating all the time at the 5. So now you're going to Pascal to be the number one option in that situation, canceling the flow of the others, like I've been said from before. The flow of OG, the flow of GT, the flow of all these other guys. And they're obviously still they're gonna have games where they shoot well, whatever the case is. But we're talking about the flow in terms of the team in general. You can't isolate, GT played good with Pascal. You can't isolate, VanVleet played good with Pascal one game. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying collectively as a flow as a whole. You're going to Pascal to paint mash, to just go to work. Do what he needs to, ISO, with no shooting big. It's a redundant offense that doesn't work when it's not an advantageous situation for him. So a lot of the times you're going to get a turnover. You're looking at the stats. Bare times he has an ISO and doesn't even go up, and he passes it last second, 5 seconds left, to now GT has to create a tough shot. VanVleet has to create it, to OG has to create a tough shot. You know what I'm saying? It's the offensive flow. Stagnant. Not up-tempo, which is why you see the output of them. The only time they scored a lot of points was versus Portland, when Portland lacks defensively, versus Detroit, which is obviously, and then versus the Kings. Every other time it's been versus a real team that has, great defense or whatever, it's been low scoring. Or it's not the same as what they've done before. Guaranteed high scoring, up-tempo, etc. Whereas the offensive flow is different. But anyways, not even to dive into that fully, but if you look at it from that perspective, like, this is why Pascal, you see in the title of the video, is the kryptonite for the Raptors right now, because they don't have a situation catered for him. He's a kryptonite especially to Scottie. Look how Scottie is moving. And before we even get into that, you can't just look at Pascal cooking versus the Kings and be like, oh my God, let's analyze. Because I said, like I was bringing up, and it was coming for a full circle, was that even in the year that he was the number one option, from time when he finally was in his, he was eating whatever, I was analyzing, Pascal goes to work when there's no defender with length that's guarding him, meaning it's a mismatch for him, meaning it's a favorable matchup for him. He's going to go to work. Not only is he going to go to work, he's going to show you the shimmies. He's going to show you the spin shots. He's going to show you the reverse pivot. He's going to show you elite arsenal. That you're like, what? This is in his bag. And that's why I tell people basketball is 90-95% mental. The skill is only the 10-20% part, even if you want to go 80% mental. Because you can have all the skill in the world, but if your mentality and your psyche and your confidence doesn't let you apply it, your brain doesn't apply it in that moment, the skill is wasted. Someone could look at you like you're just a role player and never know that you can do a step back shot. Because you're just screening, rolling, you're not confident. So you're playing, you look like you're basically a shell of yourself. Which is why you see sometimes coaches get frustrated because it's like, dog, what's this man doing? Now there's a whole different discussion where, coaches don't even, or force a guy to play this type of way. Like, that's a whole different discussion. I'm not even going to go into that. But Pascal's in the green light situation. He's the number one option. There's no limitations. He can do whatever. He could pull from half and not get benched. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's the type of green light he has and the way Nurse believes in him, which is why he felt so he got an argument with Nurse when Nurse finally subbed him out, and the guy who believed in you, the guy who actually coming into being the head coach with Kawhi and said, yo, we're going to start Pascal. We're going to, you know what I mean? He's the one that did that. Because remember, Ibaka was actually starting with Gasol. And then they said, you know what? Ibaka and Gasol are going to be bigs. They're going to sub each other. Let's start Pascal. That was Nurse who did that. He believed in him. It wasn't Casey. Let's understand the history. So that finally when Nurse now criticizes you or subs you out or does something against you in a negative way in your eyes, you lash out. Why? Because that shows you he's had the green light. He's never had to have that type of negative, so sit down, man. What are you doing? He's never had that. He's always had the green light. So someone who has the green light, if you don't have the strong mentality to apply the skill, it looks like you have no skill. Look at the Pascal. You look at these takes that you saw versus Sacramento yesterday. This is my problem. This is my problem with Pascal, man. This is my problem. This is why it's like, dog, you have this ability. You could apply it, but you're too nervous. Your palms are sweaty that you only apply it when it's an advantage situation. Meaning, you have Harrison Barnes on you, 6'7", you're 6'9", 6'10". That's a baby. Then other games, the Rudy Gobert's in the paint. It's not a baby. Where's the ability? Where's the ability? Anytime it's an elite defender on, there's no ability. He's gonna go to what? Hey! He's gonna go to those takes, man. Understand this. And this is why I said someone with that mentality can't be number one option. I foresaw and I called it out when they go to the playoffs, when they now switch everything and they force him to one-on-one. They put Jaylen Brown on Pascal the whole series, basically. Even Marcus Smart was on him switch. That's a baby, and you couldn't do nothing. Palms was sweaty. Go look at his stats in the playoffs, man. People wanted to say it was the bubble. Then the next year you saw the same thing. And that was with Gasol and Ibaka with it. And what he had, Marcus Smart averaged more than him in that series. Pascal's the number one option, averaged 13 points, 14 points. Marcus Smart averaged more than you, fam. And this is the man who got that contract. And this is what we're talking about. And I'm not trying to bash the man. I'm just showing y'all, like, I have no remorse, or I don't hold back on anyone who has mental weakness. I expose you. Because the fans talk about you like you're on this higher tier when there's levels to everything. You have to rate everybody accordingly. This is why the other people that do what they do, that are so elite, the superstars, there's a difference. You have to be authentic to the game. You have to be, you know what I mean, appreciate the artistry, appreciate the ability, appreciate the elite ones by actually understanding why they're so different. Because being mentally strong and having that ability, that combination is so different. Because a lot of these players in the league have ability. You go see them in an open run, your mind will be blown about the ability these men are displaying. Even the weakest man, especially in this era too, where that's why it's like the skill in this league is reckless. The 15th man can come give you twinkle toes, James Harden double step backs and splash on your beam. Like, that's what I'm trying to tell, man. It's like, the skill is reckless. Now, for some of them, and a lot of them, they don't even have the situation to apply that. Which is why the guys who don't have the green light and they still apply that ability shows you how tough and how strong they are mentally. They don't even care. Because take it in, those guys who basically they're not guaranteed minutes, they come in the game. You would think that's why you see those guys. They're not gonna apply the ability. You see them in the G League killing. They come in the game. you have to do X, Y, and Z. They want to earn minutes, so they have to do the little things and do the right things and hustle. Do you know what I mean? To get more minutes. You can't just come in doing double step back. Or if you do, you come in elite ability and you miss. Nigga, what is this nigga doing? Sub amount. Right? That's what happens. So the ones who know that if I miss this, I might get out the game and never play for 2-3 games and get DMPs. I'm still going to take it because I believe in my ability so much that I know I'm not going to miss it. It don't matter. What? Number one option, you want the ball, you stupid. Bucket. And they're so mentally strong that they take advantage of a weaker situation and make it their own situation. That's the Jamal Crawfords. That's the guy, the Nate Robinsons, guys like that who were literally just, okay, you're going to play, do that, don't do that, don't, you know what I mean? And they fry. Not a green light, but now they make it a green light. You know, when you're at the stoplight and you turn on your flasher, you flash it, make it a green light real quick. That's what happened. It was red light, we made it a green light. That's what those guys do. That's why they're mentally tough is actually on the next level. To actually kill without having a green light is even more disgusting. It means you're really like, that's what I'm trying to highlight. And that's what the stats will never show you. Only if you hoop, you really know the levels to these things. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm trying to like. So when I focus on someone's mental aspect, there's a reason to it because it's vital. It is the game. It literally is the game. It's the main difference in a lot of these players. Situation 2, don't get it twisted. But the mental aspect, if you actually hoop and you know what you see, means he thought like this in this moment, like that, so you can analyze where this guy's mental state is, what he's, you know what I mean? Those are the things you have to analyze. And when I analyze Pascal from time, I see him versus Portland before. Not this year, but before, when Portland had Mario Hezonja at the 4. Pascal was frying him. One-legged step back. Nowitzki, KD, step back off the post fade. Like, I'm seeing that ability, screaming and everything. And then you come see him with Ben Simmons on him. You come see him with Giannis on him. You come see him with Bam on him. It's just spin, go to the paint. Hey! Struggling. Look at the difference in the takes. And I tell people all the time, yo, like if you're that guy, your takes don't waver or don't change depending on who's guarding you. You might miss a 1-2, but that's when you're like, okay, that guy just missed. Or he played great defense. He forced him to miss. Yeah, you could say that. But the ability, whether they're hot, whether they're cold, if you just turn on the TV and you saw them take a shot and the first shot and you saw them take an elite shot and they missed, you wouldn't even know if they're cold or hot. Because why? Their takes when they're cold and when they're hot are the same. Them being cold and hot is just they're off today. You can even make that statement, oh, he just had a bad game. You can't say that with the Pascals because it's not he just had a bad game. He got padded. He mentally is weak. So when he has a bad game, it's because a lot of it is even him. Look at the takes you see, man. Look at the confident takes. Coming off the screen and pulling it right over. How many times is he in a game where he has it and a man's second off, you don't even look to shoot? That's what I'm talking about. The confidence. And people don't understand that I'm trying to highlight these things, man. And it's like people are going to take it as I'm bashing or I'm killing Pascal. It's not. It's just rating everything accordingly. Y'all were the ones that overboosted or worth the money, all this type of stuff. And I said that's a mistake. But again, Raptors always do that. They always try to make someone who's not a number one or not supposed to be this. They put them in that situation and make them that. And then, want it and surprise when they're not winning or they're exited earlier or whatever the case is. Like that's you're doing something wrong. You're basically you're putting what? Regular gas in a car that deserves premium. You know what I'm saying? That's what you're doing. You're pump faking, you're finessing. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what you're doing. You're manipulating. You're getting bootleg shoes and making it seem like it's the real deal. That's what you're doing. That's what you're finessing. You're getting bootleg movies and packaging it and making it seem like it's the real DVD. That's what you're doing. It's not real. It's not real. You know what I'm saying? You're basically doing clickbait. That's what you're doing. Sometimes the views will work. But a lot of the times when mans get there, they're like, yo, this is cap. The long-term sustainability isn't it. So when you look at it from that perspective, man, you have to look at these things and like, dog, like, understand that, like, Pascal, like, let's go into the next part before we even end this video. The next part of it is now, which is why you see the title saying he is the Kryptonite, because he's affecting the team in a negative way. I don't want to pick it out on like it's just Pascal. That's not what I'm doing. I'm basically saying that you're running an offense, right? Or you're forcing going to this guy in a situation that's not the advantage or strength situation for him. He's in a weakness situation, meaning he's not having the paint free. He's having multiple guys who clash with his play style, meaning they need the paint to score, and he needs the paint to score predominantly, and he's not living in his skilled bag. So it's affecting him individually, and not only that's affecting the team as a whole, because you're now, the guys with the bags aren't maximizing their output. You're not maximizing using them in every play. Majority of the plays go through them, and then from everybody else they score. You're going through Pascal, who's already limited, and even though he's limited, he's more limited because there's not shooting bigs. The paint is clogged. So someone who's already limited is now extra limited, and you're still going to them. So now the success rate of his takes is not going to be high. He's not going to get it. Kill. Now they have to double. Now another guy gets a shot. He's not getting that. They'll never double him. And if they double him, they'll double him off a next guy who's in the paint. So now you get doubled and your passes to another guy in the paint. Like, it's just, now they have to score one-on-one, or Pascal has and has to kicks it out. Now another guy's got to score off the, you know what I mean? You're running a redundant, or what's it called? A fugazi offense. A counterproductive offense. That's what you're running. As opposed to when Pascal was out, you saw them now, okay, no Pascal, VanVleet, do your thing. OG, do your thing. Gary Trent, do your thing. And off them three, then everybody else scores. And Scotty get it in the flow. We're not just going to every play. Get it within the flow, which is why Scotty's numbers increase. Because he's getting it within the flow. The flow is there. You could see it. Yes, doesn't mean they win every game, but the flow is there. They're still going to struggle in half court because those three aren't just guaranteed, I'm going to kill you ISO every single play. They're not a KD. They're not, you know what I mean? They're not the LeBron, the Kyries. They're not the top tier guys. So there's going to be times where they struggle. That's not the point. The point is the flow. Out of your roster, you're maximizing the best guys ability-wise on your roster. As opposed to when Pascal's there, you're not maximizing the best guys ability-wise. And it will be okay if you have a favorable situation for him, meaning the paint is free. But it's not the case, which is why it works in Milwaukee, because you're not maximizing Middleton. You're not maximizing Drew. But it doesn't matter because you're maximizing Giannis because Lopez is in the corner. The paint is all his. So you maximizing the guy without the main ability, it doesn't matter because he's the more guaranteed guy to maximize anyways because it's perfect situation for him. Which is why the team guaranteed wins a lot, etc. That's the difference. That's not what's happening with the Raptors. So when you look at it, that's why you see naturally he's the kryptonite to a lot of these guys, and that's why they won way more. They're only one now, only because it's the Kings. They're 1-5, fam, with Pascal coming back. There's a reason for that. Y'all gotta pay attention. Then now look at Scotty. Scotty individually, look at him. Oh my God, he could be the rookie of the year. All of this type of stuff. Started out the gate. Remember I said started out the gate killing. I never anticipated or looked at Scotty Barnes with that Pascal. That was not my assessment in this pick. My assessment in this pick was assuming Pascal's there because I'm like, dog, you're signing a guy or getting a guy who's basically going to be a role player with Pascal. He's not going to be a superstar around Pascal. I'm not even caring about the future. I'm thinking Pascal's there for the long time, for the long run. Look at his contract. So Scotty Barnes, you're basically getting a Draymond Green in that role. You get what I'm saying? Because that's what he's going to look like. I know he's 2.0 because I know without him, he could be dangerous without Pascal. But when I'm looking at him with Pascal, he's going to be a more aggressive Scotty. And he actually might even have numbers way more similar to Draymond. And this is not a point to highlight how he's compared to Draymond. Forget the comparison. Just look at what's happening when he's there with Pascal. People are, oh my God, yo, something going on with Pascal. Ever since Pascal's there, Scotty's not the same. You don't see man talking about Scotty like that anymore. The man went from 18 points per game on the season to now averaging 14, fam. That's a big dip in only 6 games. He only played 6 games with Pascal. So in 6 games, he went from 18 on his whole regular season average to 14, fam. Well, that's a big dip in only 6 games. Why? Now let's analyze. Let's go further because people are just going to look at what he's doing overall. What happened when Pascal wasn't there versus now when he's there. Now actually dive in and do the averages. You don't even have to rely on someone to do the stats for you. Go in and go to the game logs, which I did. Go look at the games that he played with Pascal, which is 6 games. Average those 6 games, add those points, divide it by 6, and what do you get? You get 11, what is it? 11.6 points per game he's averaging with Pascal. Doesn't that sound like Draymond? Like, what are we talking about here? What are we really talking about here? He's averaging 11 points alongside Pascal. 1-5. Had 2 points yesterday. This is what I'm talking about. This is why he's the kryptonite. You already seen my last video. If you didn't, go check it out, where I said Scottie is better in that Pascal role for the team. Like I just explained, the flow. Scottie's not going to get he's going to get ISO here and there, but he's not just going to every play. It's go to Scottie, go to Scottie, go to Scottie. And the arsenal's not even there. And his arsenal's even more than Pascal's, because he displays it regardless. Out the gate he did. When he could. When he got it. When it was time. But you're not going to go to Scottie every single play, so you're going to maximize everybody else, and Scottie's going to get it within the flow, which is how it's supposed to be. Pascal actually is supposed to, just like he was with Kawhi, nothing should have changed. He should have got it like a number 2 option, got it within the flow. He should have never been now the number 1 option. You're forcing a guy with no bag to now run the number 1 option. And you're not and he's not catered to him. So, like I explained time and time again, and I explained in this video, like, dog, he's the kryptonite to the team and to these guys. He is. Oh, can we trade him? Look at his money. Look how he looks. Around the league, I told y'all last year, around the league when he's been struggling, other commentators are looking and they're like, yo, it's going around the league. There's something going on with Pascal. Like, a lot of the GMs pay attention. They see these things. You go from killing to now it looks like he just got the money and just chilling. Even though that's not the case, because he does work hard. You know what I mean? He is someone who wants to get better, etc. But I mean, does he really try to get better? He's not doing what OG did. One season, OG just showed you the bag. You know what I'm saying? Because he knows this is my opportunity. Lowry's gone. Oh, no pal. Oh, I'm up on the scale now. I'm up on the hierarchy. It's time. It's time. So you know what I mean? Like, you understand, like, you look at it from that perspective. You just have to understand that, you know, Pascal is 100% the kryptonite. Doesn't mean he's trash. Doesn't mean he's a waste man. But right now, a lot of people are going to call him those things because of how it's affecting the Raptors as a whole. And that's what he looks like. You know what I mean? That's what it looks like. That's not just what it looks like. That's what it is. If you pay attention, this is deep level context. This is actually IQ. This is what I do. You know, understand what's going on here. Yes, Pascal ate. Yes, Pascal went to work. But he's actually going to work dependent on situations. That's not someone who's guaranteed a number 1 option. Like, you can't pick and choose like that when you want to, like, oh, a weak guy's on me, now I'm going to cook. Yes, you should do that, but you should do that regardless. You can, when you waver your takes and your moves, and that based on who's guarding you, based on who you're playing, that's to me, not to me, what it is, that's mental weakness. In comparison to other guys who do it regardless. I'm not talking about the success rate. I'm talking about just taking it. Just attempts. Just the attempts. Forget the success rate. Forget the success rate. Forget that. The attempts. Now, on this season, if you look at him individually, yes, he's averaging, you know, he's shooting great from the field, 48%, 40% from 3. Like, if you look at his numbers, it's not horrendous at all. Nowhere near, especially compared to what he did last year. And compared, you know what I mean? And compared to the bubble and all of that. But then again, he's only averaging 18 points. Harden is averaging 18 points and they're killing him. Harden is even averaging 20 right now. They're killing him. Pascal, in his best year, averaged 22 points. 2 years straight now. Let's go see. Because mans are, you know, they're just acting like I'm just out here speaking nonsense. Like I don't know what I'm talking about. Like I'm not speaking facts and doing deep level context, deep level breakdown, deep level IQ. Let's go actually check what he did in his years. You know what I mean? We know him as the number 1 option. We know that he averaged 22 points, 23 points. In his best year, the number 1 option. 45% from the field and 36% from 3. And those dipped, you know, during the pre-bubble, close to the bubble, all of that. You know what I mean? It started to dip because teams are focused on you. Then the next year, he averaged 21.4. It dropped again. But it's not that bad. But even then, remember to start. Don't let these numbers fool you. To start, it was way worse than that. He was averaging like 16, 17. Until Nurse catered the offense and made him the 5, that's when he individually improved. Remember on the back end of the season, before the before the bubble happened and all that. Sorry, it's after the bubble. My bad. Before the whole end of the season where they're like, okay, Pascal or the Raptors, they're going to go for a pick. Remember before the tanking situation and not making a play-in? They were trying for a lot of it. And Pascal was struggling until they finally sat Aaron Baines down and they made Pascal the 5. That's when he improved his numbers and he went from 18 points to 21. So don't let that 21 fool you. It basically was worse than that. It was basically 18. You know what I'm saying? Now this year again, he's at 17. You're dropping every single year. The more you're in your number one option, you're dropping. That's supposed to be so, oh my God, improved every year and this and that and all that type of stuff. Like, what are we talking about here, man? Y'all got to analyze the game, man. It's not just about stats. You got to have the eye test and then use the stats to basically solidify or basically explain the eye test. You don't use stats as a way to explain what's going on. That's reverse. The eye test does it and the stats just basically clarifies it. You're not supposed to use the stats as to learn and to understand what's happening. No, that's cap. The stats will manipulate you. They will manipulate you. You know what I'm saying? So understand that. You already know it's True Talks, because True Talks. Share, like, and subscribe. We out here. There's no doubt here. There's no drought here. You feel me? I appreciate y'all. You already know. Spread the word. You already know, man. Like, dog, this is like Pascal, man. You got like, and this is the thing. When someone has mental weakness like this, there's actually nothing you can do. You could work all you want in off season. You could do any type of way to simulate, man's yelling in your ear, man. There's nothing you can do. They can only improve their weakness. This is a character makeup type of thing. This is just who you is. Or they improve their ability so much that now they're so confident in it that now they do it always. But even then, that's rare that you see someone go from being frail and being nervous at all times to all of a sudden being the most confident guy. It doesn't happen. They might improve it a little bit, but they're still going to be in that fashion of, if you have to pick and choose in a situation where it's clutch or wherever it is and then you have a great defender on them, they're going to be more nervous in that situation and more not confident in that situation than the latter. That's what's going to happen. That's just, you have to understand, if you hoop, like you see these things all the time. You see man's in warm-up snapping. When the game comes, bricking, passing it, touching, like, this is, you, like, only if you know. I can't really, I'm going to speak a language that a lot of people don't understand, you know what I'm saying? Especially casual fans, but I'm trying to educate. I'm not trying to roast mans. I'm not trying to act like, oh, my IQ is the greatest, even though I believe it's up there. You know what I'm saying? But, mans could be wrong. But at the end of the day, these are things like the footage. Just, you have to have a trained eye to see what the footage is telling you. It's not me making things up. I'm not doing anything special in terms of, oh, my God. Like, this is just the footage tells you what it is. You have to just decipher it. That's all it is. You have to decipher it. And that's where the IQ comes, because a lot of people can't decipher it. They can't. And I can. I could decipher. I could whittle the weeds out. Oh, that's cap. That's not true. Nope. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on now. Anyways, like I said, it's True Talks to True Talks. I appreciate y'all. You already know, man. Spread the word. Dog, do they change? Like, this is what I'm saying, Scotty. Like, this is gonna be a rough one. And then OG's out for a while. Like, it's gonna be a rough one, man. I'm telling you from now. You already know, man. Anyways, I'm out, man.